I feel so lucky to be out in the garden right now. It feels very tropical at the moment, or really for the last couple weeks. Just the sun came out and I'm excited because I can actually come out in the garden and do a few things and share the updates with you. It has been raining on and off for days. I mean, we get a lot of rain, but it has been I feel like it's been extremely rainy lately, and heavy rain. So heavy thunderstorms, and whew, when we get those thunderstorms, it just, you know, can make things go in a good direction or a bad direction. So today I want to share with you what's blooming in my June flower garden right now. June, July, and August are probably the most colorful times in my garden. It's when the annuals that I planted in, you know, April and May are finally catching up to some of the perennials like I have behind me. I planted the zinnias that I planted later. I think I planted those later in April or really end of April. I'll have to look back. In this side of the garden, I have behind me, I have some perennials, which I have shared before. The black-eyed Susans are really just, to me, when I look in the garden, those are the things that I see the first. The yellow flowers in the back, they are just pop, like so colorful. Those and the Echinacea, which are right here. There's a little bee on that one. There's constantly bees on the Echinacea, and there's constantly bees on the black-eyed Susans. They love them. The daisies have kind of slowed down a little bit in the garden. I don't know if it's just the heat or they mostly bloom like in May, like a lot of May and a good part of June, and they have kind of slowed down. So I just kind of cut those back, and then I'll probably get some more blooms before the summer's over. The dahlias that I planted from Costco back here are doing really well. I've had probably 3 huge, I call them huge, of the yellow variety that I got from Costco, and I finally have one that's purple that's coming along. In the other side of my garden, on this side, on this side behind me, this is what I call the north side of my garden. I have some zinnias that are coming along, and I'll show you what those are going to look like because I have some more planted on the other end, and then I have some cosmos. The one update that I wanted to share about this side of the garden is the dahlia tubers I planted right here, and I had planted some over here. Well, it has rained really, really hard a few times, and so I had planted some back here and back here, and I'll link that video talking about that. But I had planted the dahlia tubers from Longfield Gardens, and it rained so hard that this little group that I planted over here, they just totally were exposed. So I just removed those, and I started to kind of panic. So I removed these, and I had to start filling that area back in with some more soil. This side over here, I had planted some, and then one of those, let me show you, it has actually started to sprout. So I have one little sprout right there, and then one that's over there that hasn't sprouted yet. So today this whole tuber was exposed. It was raining really, really hard this morning, and this whole tuber, this whole bed was just flooding. And that's kind of normal, but I took some soil that was like a heavier soil and just kind of lightly put it around it and covered it back up. So when it continues to grow, it won't be totally exposed. But this side of the garden is looking really pretty. It's got like I said, it's got the daisies. I've got the Echinacea and the black-eyed Susans and the dahlia tuber. I'll show you one right here. So pretty. Speaking of the dahlia tubers, I watched a channel And I will try to remember to put the name on the screen here of this guy that I found. One of my friends shared it with me, that he just mostly plants dahlia tubers, and he has done this experiment this month where he was talking about, you know, planting a dahlia tuber in, like, are you supposed to water them after you plant them or not? So he did a little experiment, and his experiment actually helped me feel a lot better about the tubers getting kind of, they didn't get washed away, but the soil got washed away. So for the ones that have sprouted, I'm just kind of putting a little bit more soil around those to kind of protect them. And then the ones that haven't sprouted, that have been, I don't want to say they've been sitting in water, but the water hasn't been draining off quickly because it's been raining a lot. I think they may be okay. So I'm not going to do anything with them. I actually got replacements because some of them were broken. So I mentioned in my last video that I was going to email the company and ask them if they, they have a guarantee that if you're not satisfied, just let them know. So I think 30 days. So I replied to them for my shipping order and said, this batch, this one, and this one had they were just totally broken off of the stem. And they didn't ask me any questions. I had actually sent them a couple photos. They said, thank you for the photos. Just tell us which ones you need and we'll ship them out for free. And they totally shipped them out free, and I got them like a week later. So if any of these other ones don't bloom, it'll be fine. So now I want to share, like, on the other side of my garden, kind of how it's looking. The things that this end of my garden is kind of what I consider the more tropical end of the garden, and I hope to kind of like take some of that to the other end, which I do have an elephant ear back in the other corner, and I think next year I'm going to put one. I still could probably put one over in this corner. I have two on the end of the garden, and then I have two banana plants, and then I have this. I have a lot of zinnias over here, dahlias, and Mexican sunflowers. I have a few other kind of little random things, like I have a couple sunflowers that I keep having trouble with. I don't know if slugs are eating the seedlings, or I know squirrels will eat the seeds before they even germinate, but I even grew some, put them in little containers, grew them, potted them, put them out. They were gone the next day. So something ate them. Every day I come out here and I kind of take a look at everything, and I would say that, for a while I've been kind of worried that the banana plants are not growing, and I think they finally are. A couple of them have like little, they call them pups, that they'll start to sprout at the base, which is a good sign. And then they get like a new leaf once or twice a week. So a new leaf, and then the new leaf unfolds, and then, it's slowly getting bigger. But I may have had my expectations too high on that, because sunflowers sometimes, even Mexican sunflowers, will grow so fast. I mean, you will come out here and visibly notice the plant is bigger the next day. I'm not kidding. And so I think that's what I expected from the banana plants, but I think they're a little bit more like the elephant ears, where it's slow growth and you may not notice it like overnight. My elephant ears are doing really well. There's one you can't see it. There's one, maybe you can, in a planter right here behind this Mexican sunflower, and then I have a couple on this end. Those are doing really well. And then the dahlias that I have from Floret, those are doing pretty well. They don't really produce big blooms, so they're not kind of like, wow, like you don't come out here and say, oh my gosh, look at that dahlia. It's just like a small petite bloom. And then I would say the two other things on this end that are doing the most right now are the zinnias here beside me. These are the Johnny's Aurora zinnias. It is my second or third year to have those, and I will keep buying those because they're so pretty. They're like oranges, pinks, coral, white, and I have some Floret, but unfortunately, Floret is one of my favorite zinnia varieties, but unfortunately I think the slugs got those early, and I did not get, all of those did not germinate. So I have some, I'll have maybe 10, but out of a pack of 50, that's not, maybe it was 25. I think it was 50 actually. So that was kind of unfortunate. But anyway, the Johnny's Aurora, I had a pack these that I got from online, and then I think there were 250. So I have a lot of them down here on this other end, and then this side gets more sun, so they grew a lot faster on this side. The other thing that really is a standout, and if no one has ever told you to plant, if no one has ever told you to plant Mexican sunflowers, this is your sign. Tithonia or Mexican sunflowers, right here behind me. It is huge. I didn't even plant these. None of the ones that I have planted, none of the ones that I have right now I planted. Did I plant? They were already, they just dropped seeds from last fall. I had them in middle to end of summer, all the way through the first frost. And I think I even left them up during the winter because the birds liked them. And then they were kind of pretty, just almost like having something in the garden rather than having nothing. But I highly recommend, if you live in a warm climate and you want a plant that can really just be neglected, that's a good one. That is really all I have for today. I just wanted to have something to kind of show that you know, how everything was looking in June before everything kind of really even takes off more in July. You know, by the time we get to August, we have a lot of drought. Typically in my zone, I live in zone 8B, so now it's like a heavy rain season. I would say more than usual. Well, it's good for me because I'm not having to come out here and water the plants. But sometimes, like I said, with the dahlias, you know, washing them away, that was a little bit concerning. Anyway, so I have a lot of a couple things in June. I have a couple things in July that I'm excited to do and share and talk about. So also, again, I just want to say how glad I am that I was able to come outside in my garden, because every day this week that I have come home, it has been cloudy and rainy, storming, extremely humid or something, and no sun. So not the most ideal time to come outside, because you can just kind of get like a better glimpse of everything when there's just even just a little bit of sun. So anyway, if you made it to the end, thank you for watching. And I shared several videos recently. One that I really enjoyed making was how I transformed my backyard into a garden over the last 6 years. So I'll post that here so you can check that out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.